When was the last time that you thought about death? You heard me. I'm going to ask it again. When was the last time that you thought about death? Your death. You're probably thinking to yourself, what the hell is this guy Eddie now talking to me about death? All I want to do is to live. I want a good life. I've been sitting at home for 2 months with this COVID-19. Now he's talking to me about death. That's just it. You want to have a good life? You should start thinking and really dealing with death, what it means, what it is. Because by dealing with death and thinking deeply about death and understanding death, that is the only way to really, really start living fully at your highest capability. In the West, we don't talk too much. We don't deal with death. Yeah, death. Okay, that's something that's going to happen. Yeah, everybody's going to die, but you know, what about you? Are you going to die? Yeah, I'm going to die also. But when it happens, I'll be ready for it. Oh yeah? How are you going to be ready for it? How are you going to prepare for it? Don't you think that that's something which you might have to work on maybe your whole life to prepare yourself? To go deep into the notion of what it means to die. And by understanding that, then you will start living. Then you will start living. Because when you understand that we are here for 20, 50, 80, I don't know how many years. Life is fleeting. It goes by in an instant. And yet, we take things to heart. We're stressed out. We're prone to anger, to rage, to all kinds of emotions, negative emotions. And we work like dogs, day in and day out, to make a couple of more bucks, to make a couple of more dollars, and we're still not happy, and we're not satisfied, and we're not fulfilled. And that's because we're doing everything except doing the right thing. And that's thinking of the central principle of life, which is life and death. Because only if you believe you were born, then you can die. And I have a lot of discussions with people on this subject. People who come to me and we talk, and I say, okay, what do you think is going to be with you? What about death? How do you feel about that? Very difficult for people to wrap their heads around that. It scares a lot of people. It's morbid. Hey, well, I don't want to talk about death. We don't like to talk about death in the West. You know, in the East, there's a very, very deep exercise in the Tibetan mystical tradition, in the Tantrayana and the Vajrayana traditions of the Dzogchen and the Mahamudra, in which you go to the graveyard by yourself, quietly, in the middle of the day, in the evening, and you sit on the ground between the graves, and you contemplate, you meditate on your own funeral. You actually meditate and you visualize your funeral. And how they put you into the earth, the corpse, your own corpse, and you go into that. It's not an easy exercise. It's not a beginner's exercise. No way. And please, don't anybody attempt to do this on your own or even just out of nowhere. For that you need a lot of practice, a lot of training, and you need a master to guide you on this path. However, I've done this myself many times. And I want to tell you something. When you do these kind of exercises, and you really deeply understand that we are here transient, we are passing by in this world, you start living much better. You stop getting so angry. For what? The rage goes down. Jealousy, fear, hurt. So somebody said something about you. So your wife snapped at you, or your husband snapped at you. They said a bad word. Or your kid didn't do what he had to do. Or somebody blocked you off in traffic. You start taking it a little bit in proportion, a little bit easier. You start understanding what life is all about the moment you understand what death is all about, that we are here only temporarily. I'm not talking about our spirit, that's something else. I'm talking about this body, whatever this is, that it changes every 7, 8, or 10 years. Every cell in your body is changing. Who are you? That's another question. I don't want to go into that. What is this I? I. We all the time we say, I am. What is this I? Who are you? I'll talk about that in another time. But for today, maybe we should contemplate a bit more. Think about our own deaths. Prepare our minds. Train our minds for that day, because when we face our own death, it will be alone, without any friends, without any family, without any of our riches or material wealth. For what good is all that if you are not prepared spiritually? What good is all the money in the world, all the fancy toys that we have, all the riches? What good is any of that if we're not happy, if we're not fulfilled? And just so you understand, if you haven't watched any of my movies before, I don't go around hugging trees. I wasn't born la-di-da, prancing around life in white, loving everybody. No. I knew a lot of anger, rage, emotions. To get to this where I am now took me years of training, at least 20 years. And it's tough. It's tough. Because you have to go deep, deep inside yourself and start peeling away layers of shit. So don't tell me it's easy. It's not. But I don't think we have any choice if you really want to live. On the other hand, you could be just like the cattle. There's a beautiful writing by Patrul Rinpoche, one of the greatest saints living in the 1800s of Tibet. A letter to myself, I think it's called, something like that. If you can look it up in Wikipedia and Google, I'm sure you'll find it. And he writes about it's better to be like the cow, eating grass, placid, not thinking about anything, eating and shitting. That's all they do in life. Much easier. Could be. If you want to be like the cow, so be it. However, we were born as human beings. We have a brain, we have a spirit, we have a soul. I'm sure the animals do also. maybe we should use it to prepare ourselves and to have a better life. So I wish you a better life. And by the way, if you have something to say about what I have said now in this video, I'd love to hear it in the comments below. Or if you want to put a like, I'd love to know what you think. If you think it's valuable, share it so somebody else can hear it. And if you think I'm talking bullshit, then go ahead and write that down in the comments also. I'm open to that. And you know what? I'm happy to discuss it. So have a great day, or whatever you're doing. God bless you.